The 2018 Russia World Cup has its first finalists. The 1998 champions, France, booked their place in the finals when they edged out Belgium in St. Petersburg. Both France and Belgium have come to the semi-finals after ousting South American nations Uruguay and Brazil respectively. Both sides boasting a stellar lineup of stars created numerous chances to break the deadlock in the opening half. But France goalkeeper Hugo Lloris and his Belgian counterpart Thibaut Courtois were equal in everything that was thrown at them. The Red Devils had more possession of the ball, but it was France that looked more threatening in the final third. After a goalless first half, it was Didier Deschamps' side who took the lead within 6 minutes after the restart. Samuel Umtiti headed home for a corner in what turned out to be the only goal of the match. Belgium, who had overturned a 2-0 deficit in the round of 16, tied against Japan, pushed for an equaliser, but skipper Lloris would ensure that France kept their fourth clean sheet in the tournament. And you can imagine just how crazy French fans went when they stormed their way to the World Cup final. They chanted, they jumped, they lit flares of red, white and blue in the Champs-Élysées in Paris after France defeated Belgium in the World Cup semis. It was quite a sight. Take a look.
Thousands of fans packed the streets of Paris to celebrate the win by setting off flares and fireworks outside the Champs-Élysées. Euphoric French supporters waving their national flag, dancing and chanting on the streets of the nation's capital.
It was incredible. It's the first time that I've come here on the Champs-Élysées. Really, it's magnificent. My heart is pounding and I'm really very happy. And France will go to the end. We are going to go to the end and we will win the World Cup.
Close to 20,000 people gathered in St. Petersburg fan zone went wild after their team's magnificent performance in the semi-final.
So today we are in a state of extreme happiness. France is in the World Cup final. French people are behind them. Thank you, Mbappe. Thank you to everyone from France's team. Tonight they made us dream. They made us dream tonight.
French President Emmanuel Macron, who was in Russia to witness the match, was seen jumping with joy as Samuel Umtiti scored the first and the only goal of the match. France supporters showered their national team with praise.
I got goosebumps. That's something you experience twice in your lifetime. It's amazing. I'm really happy. It was a tough, but we had a great team. An exceptional goalkeeper, Hugo Lloris. An exceptional midfield. Everything was brilliant. We'll be back Sunday for their win.
First hurdle down and France cannot stop from celebrating. Optimistic that France will end up winning the 2018 World Cup.
U.S. President Donald Trump meeting members of NATO for a summit, but America's allies are on edge. Donald Trump in the past has called NATO obsolete, and he's taken on his allies, calling them to step up their financial contributions. In all likelihood, Donald Trump might face a hostile reception in Brussels, just as he did at the G7 summit.
All is not well between America and its allies. NATO summit in Brussels could spark more tensions. Trump refuses to hold back his punches against his NATO allies.
NATO has not treated us fairly, but I think we'll work something out. We pay far too much and they pay far too little. But we will work it out and all countries will be happy.
The NATO chief seems to disagree. After a rather tense breakfast meeting with the US president, he told the media that NATO allies have increased their defense.
We see that last year we had the biggest increase in our defense spending across Europe and Canada in a generation. We see that all allies started to increase defense spending.
Trump, since his campaign days, has been critical of NATO. Ahead of his visit to Brussels, the American president called NATO obsolete. Earlier this year, Trump wrote to leaders of several NATO countries condemning them for not paying their fair share of defense spending. There is a fear that the two-day NATO summit may end with a debacle, just like the G7 summit. Bureau Report, WION.
And now it's time to go to Amman, Jordan, and my colleague, Daniele Pagani.
Thank you very much, Mandy, and welcome back to Amman. With me, Daniele Pagani. Well, today is the day after a rescue which we can safely define miraculous. We are talking about the 12 boys from Thailand and their football coach who finally got rescued, and they were saved after getting trapped inside a dark and flooded cave. And this is a story which kept the world waiting, and literally the entire country of Thailand held its breath for 17 days. And it is also a story of collective willpower, which is the only thing that brought back to safety and literally light these 12 kids and their football coach. My colleague Siddhan Sibal was on the ground to understand what it feels like for Thailand now that all the boys were rescued.
It was a race against time for the rescuers who were trying to pull out these boys. So when they announced that they have managed to save the 12 teenagers and their football coach, celebrations broke out. Chiang Rai has been at the center of the world's attention. One can sense the mood of the nation from one of the local cafes here.
I'm very happy. Here, no problem. Everything is very happy. Very happy.
I'm sure for Thai people, especially the parents and like everywhere in the world, really like happy. Really happy for them. Like came out like healthy.
The entire rescue mission was an impressive example of international cooperation. People cutting across nationalities, language and other differences came together to save those boys stuck up in the caves. It was a stellar effort, and the moral of the story is hope is real.
Celebrations were also seen at the Mae Sai Pratisthat school, where 6 of the 12 boys go to. Teachers and students gathered at the school gym and prayed for the well-being of the team. With Siddhan Sibal in Chiang Rai, Thailand, Bureau Report, WION.
Rescuing 12 kids, many of them very uncomfortable with water and swimming, and their football coach from a cave which was flooded and dark, was definitely not an easy operation, and it was only possible because there were hundreds of rescuers who came from all over the world to offer their expertise. They are the real heroes of this story, and it is thanks to their expertise and their bravery that it was possible to bring back to life these kids who got trapped inside a very dangerous environment. And we at WION want to salute all the rescuers from all over the world who came together to rescue these kids. Take a look.
a crowd waiting outside erupted in applause as the last batch of divers exited the Tham Luang cave. Late Tuesday night, divers who freed the wild boars posed for the shutterbugs. A 17-day perilous operation was finally over. But as the world celebrated the rescue of these young boys, an Australian doctor was mourning the death of his father. The last man out of the Thai cave, Dr. Richard Harris, was informed of his father's death minutes after he wrapped up the mission on Tuesday. Rescue teams from across the globe had made Chiang Rai their home for the last few days as they raced against time to save the trapped boys and their coach. Their relentless efforts leading to the success of this long and painstaking mission.
You know, the key challenges would definitely be the difficulty of this dive operation. You know, you have the weather, you know, it's dark, what's the conditions in the cave, what is the conditions of the children. So our role here was to advise and assist our Thai partners as well as the international Thai search and rescue teams on what was the best course of action for this rescue.
It was not just troops from different countries that flew down to Thailand. People from different walks of life with expertise in rescue operations landed in Chiang Rai to help out.
The volunteers provided from the divers to the reporters to the translators. They were all very important in the whole process so everyone could understand everybody else. So they had the experts, even SpaceX, with equipment, and I don't think anyone, everyone volunteered and spent their own time, their own money to come and help.
The most happy is that the first time we heard that the boys, we found them groups, so that the most happy that we already had, and after that, through the time, now everyone is leave the cave. Okay, so I mean, this planned project is a success.
The boys were discovered on July 2nd. A British diver found them huddled in darkness on a muddy bank inside the flooded cave. Jonathan Wallington was among the group of divers who flew down from the United Kingdom to offer assistance in the operation. His mother is more than relieved that both the boys and her son are now safe.
It's very tense. It's very unusual to see your son on television and everybody saying so many kind words about him. I mean, is this my son they're talking about? And then when they lost one of the members of the team, again, it makes you realise that these things do happen. And I knew that I wouldn't be happy myself until we had a perfect result, which I understand we have now.
The Thai government requested assistance of several countries who sent in their teams without batting an eyelid. And for that, the government of Thailand is thankful.
ผมในนามของรัฐบาลไทยต้องขอแสดงความขอบคุณอย่างสุดซึ้งในความเสียสละและความมุมานะในการปฏิบัติงานของผู้มีส่วนเกี่ยวข้องทุกคนทุกองค์กรประชาชนจิตอาสาและสื่อมวลชนทั้งไทยและต่างประเทศที่สนับสนุนทั้งองค์ความรู้กำลังคนเครื่องมือและอุปกรณ์ต่างๆตลอดจนกำลังใจและไมตรีจิตจากมิตรประเทศทั่วโลกจนทำให้ภารกิจในครั้งนี้สำเร็จได้ด้วยดี
What began as a misadventure ended up becoming one of the biggest stories of survival. And the credit lies with the rescuers who triumphed over the impossible. Bureau Report, WION.
The rescue operation was an extremely difficult operation. It is not easy to get out from a flooded and dark cave, 13 people, many of them even not familiar with water and swimming. It was a multinational effort, and India too had a very important role in this rescue operation. The Indian embassy in Thailand had in fact recommended to the Thai authorities that they could use Pune headquarters the firm Kirloskar Brothers Limited's expertise in pumping out the water from the flooded cave. On India's insistence, Thai authorities did use the services of KBL experts who offered technical advice on pumps that were used in the rescue operation. Dewatering the cave was crucial to ensure safe passage of the rescue teams into the cave and an easy exit for those trapped inside. This major contribution by India received much appreciation among volunteers in Thailand.
Spain's week-long running of the Bulls Festival is underway in Pamplona. Given the life-threatening dangers it involves, this festival has had its run-ins with controversies time and again. So why do people sign up for it? What is the tradition behind this festival? Take a look at this report.
It's that time of the year when Spain holds the famous Bull Run Festival. Runners from all over the world come to Pamplona to match their wits with half-ton bulls in this iconic and dangerous festival. Held in honour of Saint Firmin, the festival is staged every year from 6th to the 14th of July and sees thousands of tourists descend on the historic capital of Navarre to race through the streets pursued by the noble beasts. The festival is believed to be dating back to the 14th century. The event traces its origins to the heyday of bullfighting, when animals reared for the purpose in the countryside would be brought to the city and children would leap into their path to show off to one another and boast of their bravery. The festival involves the release of 6 bulls in a Spanish town. Locals and attendees run in front of the bulls, sporting red accessories and taunting the animals. Each race typically takes no more than 3 minutes. On the night of the run, the 6 bulls are taken to the bullfighting ring to face off. The event continues to remain embroiled in controversies. While the historic tradition remains popular, it continues to attract criticism from animal rights activists and has seen fatalities. Around 50 to 100 people are injured during the running of the bulls each year. In fact, one person was gored on the first day of the festival this year. While it's uncommon for participants to be gored, it has happened in the past. In 2013, 6 runners were gored during the festival. In 2009, 10 people were gored and 1 died. Falling and causing a pile-up is another common cause of injury in the running of the bulls. About 15 people died in the running of the bulls between 1924 and 2009. In another controversy marring the festival, it is the court ruling in which 5 men were cleared in April of raping an 18-year-old woman at the festival in 2016. The men were instead convicted of the lesser crime of sexual abuse. Some groups have called for feminists to boycott the festival as a mark of protest. Bureau Report, WION.
That's all that we have for you on this edition of Gravitas Global. I'd like to thank you on behalf of my colleagues in London and Amman and the newsroom in Delhi that has put together all these interesting reports for you, leaving you with Gravitas Images.